Okay, so we are starting this masterclass. So welcome everybody. Whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening for you, I just extend a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Winnie Lui. This is the Empowered Soul Journey Masterclass. And so first off, I just want to give you all a rundown, or I should say the flow of this. Okay, hang on. A little bit of a technical issue is how do I? Yes, the flow of this masterclass. Technical things. Don't you just love it? The flow of this masterclass. So first, I'm just going to give you an overview of what Empowered Soul Journey is about, and then break that up by giving you a bit of a description of who I am. And then I'm just going to deep dive into the whole masterclass, Empowered Soul Journey. And at the end of it, before the Q&A, I actually would want to share with you a gift that just to thank you so much for investing your Saturday morning with me. And I really appreciate it. So I would describe to you the thank you gift should you want to take me up on it. So let's begin now. Okay, overview of the Empowered Soul Journey. So who is this masterclass for? The reason I named this the Empowered Soul Journey is I want to attract a certain kind of people to come to it. The kind of people I want to attract or to really speak to is people who are, if not consciously know and live from the fact that they are so having a journey, at least be open to entertaining the idea that we have a soul and we actually are on a journey where our soul actually helps us to guide us to experience certain things. So that's who this masterclass is for. Not that you have to believe me that we do have a soul and that soul is on a journey, but at least be open to exploring that idea. And when I go into the deep dive part of it, I would actually let you know why it is so important to, even if you don't believe me, even because, because you may not know me very well. So why would you believe me when I tell you that we do have a soul and the soul is on a journey and we somehow are being tagged along on it? It's not that. It's actually very empowering when we can start to consider from the point of view that we are the soul and we are on a journey. And then the next thing is during the Empowered Soul Journey Masterclass is I'm going to cover 3 things that you need to know in order to empower your life. And of course, there's a lot more wisdom out there. However, just with these 3 very fundamental knowledge, secret or wisdom, however you want to name it, just by knowing these 3 ideas, these 3 things, you would be able to shift, and not just know it, of course, to practice it and to incorporate it into your daily lives. Then it will empower your life in a very powerful way. And then at the end of sharing this, of course, I'm also going to take you through a meditation or a process that will help you not just know these ideas, but start to use it and have a bodily experience of using these ideas and feeling and just have an experience of these ideas. So that's what the Empowered Soul Journey Masterclass Meet is about. Now, the next thing is, who am I? So this is me. My name is Winnie Lui. I am an intuitive life coach, and I'm a spirituality guide as well. In the intuitive life coach, I work with clients to help them make sense of their life and also to give them tools or give them a different point of view for them to start to empower their life, to make their life easier and more meaningful as well. The spirituality guide part is that something that I want to do and give back, and my soul is calling me to do this. The guide part is, it's not just about working with clients. And I also actually put out a podcast that's called A New Human Experience. I also do channeling of an entity called Kriya, and I do energy healing at the I would say at the back end, or where it's not really directed to individual people as when I'm doing like a coaching session with someone in particular. I'm actually working with the collective as a whole, using energy to start to shift and make the whole collective be able to go through this major energy change that we're going through right now. And I touched upon a little bit that I put out a podcast. I put out, I do channeling. I also do energy healing, and I do something called access bars. And all of these modalities that I'm offering, whether privately or as a group, is really to help shift humanity along so that we can all have a very different, new, and exciting human experience. And now let's go to the Empowered Soul Journey, the meat part of this masterclass. And the first secret, or the first wisdom, the first idea that I would like to share with you all is that you are a facet of the creative source. What do I mean by that? The creative source. There are other names for this. Some call it God, some call it Allah, or the ultimate creative source. Whatever name you give it, it's all about the person or the entity that's creating all of life as we know it. And I am giving you the idea, and I'm asking you to try out this idea and play with this idea, is that you actually are a facet of that creative source. And I'm telling you that you are a part of God. I'm not saying that you are all of God. I'm just saying that you are a very unique and individualized part of the creative source. Now, you may ask the question, so what? Are you kidding me? Can you prove it? And also, what is this going to do? I mean, why are you telling me this? I am a human being. Knowing this, how is that going to impact my daily life? Because yeah, it's nice and high and dry for me to say this, that you are a part of the creative source. But how does it translate for you in this human life, in your daily life, on a Saturday morning? How does that impact you? You don't have to really believe me in order to benefit from this. All I'm asking is for you to play with this idea, because when you think of yourself as this human being, I'm this, for example, if I think of myself as being Winnie Louie, this woman of a certain age living in a certain part of Canada, what can I do? When you think of yourself as just the identity that you have been comfortably carrying along and thinking that you are, then you are very separate. The result is that you would feel limited. You would feel that you are separate from the rest of creation. However, when you start to play with the idea that you are a facet of the creative source, when you truly start to play with this idea, even without believing that this is the case, just play with this idea. It actually starts to break down your walls of separation. It starts to give you a very different point of view than you would be able to to access. When you ask yourself this question of, well, let's play with the idea that I'm a facet of the creative source. What would be a creative source create the situation for myself? And why am I seeing what I'm seeing? And start to think of, well, if I liked what I'm seeing, of course, not an issue. But if I don't like what I'm seeing, how can the creative source that I am make a difference? How can the creative source that I am start to shift things so that I'm not, like my life is not happening to me, and my life can start to happen for me? What if? That's all I'm asking all of you to consider, is to play with the idea. And for a couple of minutes every hour or so, or maybe as often as you care to play with this idea, is to ask yourself, what would the creative source do about this? What am I here to do? Am I here to just enjoy it? Or am I here to start to change it? What can I do? Because you cannot do much when you think of yourself as just you on a human level. However, when you start to play with the idea that you are part of the creative source, and this is the reality you are seeing, however, because you are the creative source, you have the option to change it. So when you start to play with this idea, it actually breaks down all barriers. It actually starts to open up other possibilities that you may not be able to access when you only allow yourself to be this human being and living this life. And when you start to be open to other possibilities, things will start to shift. When you shift your mind, you shift your reality. And when you don't buy into the idea that you are this solid body and this is it, and when you are willing to shift, then you can actually play with reality as though it were just Play-Doh, and start to shift it, maybe a little bit at a time. But the more you practice this idea, the more access you have to change things. And so this is the power of playing with this idea. And the next thing I want to introduce is still relative to this, is that you, as the facet of the creative source, you as a soul is here for a purpose. You're not here by accident. You're not here just because somehow you fell through the cracks. Your soul is here for a purpose. And that purpose, what is that purpose? Only you can discover it. It's for you to discover. And I said that you are here for a purpose. However, purpose is really the closest word that I can think of to describe this. Your soul is here actually to discover itself, because every one of us is unique. Even though we are all facets of the creative source, every soul has a unique signature. And as the creative source, we are here to explore from that unique signature. How does the unique signature of your soul, how can your unique signature as a whole play with the universe so that it can, so that you can start to go back and remember who you truly are? And when everybody remembers who they truly are, then we can all come together as the creative source again, and we can go and start to play another game. However, for now, let's say that your soul is here for a purpose, and that purpose is really a word for a human term, because you can do certain things within this lifetime, and when your soul is done with this, then it will go and create another lifetime, maybe with another body, in order for you to experience. In this lifetime, your soul is here for a purpose, And your most important purpose is really to discover that and to find your way to so that you can go back to remembering who you are as a soul and what really resonates with you, and start to play with the universe from the unique soul that you are. And so as a human being, the best thing you can do is to align with your soul. Align with your soul so that you're not working cross-purpose with your soul, because your soul really orchestrates everything for you to experience. Before you came into this body, you have some idea of what it is, what kind of experience you want to have. That's why you select the parents that you have. That's why you select the geographical location, the ethnicity that you were born into, all of this. It's all orchestrated by your soul. And so when you align with your soul, you start to notice that things start to become smoother. And the more you start to align with your soul and really live from your soul, the easier life gets. And so how do you align with your soul? When I don't even, I've never heard my soul, I've never seen my soul. So yes, your soul is the etheric part of you. And yes, you don't see it, and it does not have a voice like the voice that you're hearing right now from me. It's not as distinct. However, it does communicate with you all the time. It communicates with you in very creative ways. It may communicate with you through dreams. It may communicate with you through the animal world. It may communicate with you just through books that seem to drop on your lap. When I say this, it could be the books that other people recommend to you out of the blue. So there are different ways your soul communicates with you. And even if you don't do anything, your soul is actually always doing its best to communicate with you. And if you want to align with your soul, then you just need to actually be. I would say the simplest thing is to not try to do so much, is to start to calm down your internal dialogue, start to do some meditation, or maybe spend time in nature, or maybe just spend time being in your heart, just asking yourself, is this what I want to do? And really not from your brain level thinking, oh, I should be doing this. Because whenever you think, whenever you hear the word I should, then you know that something is off. Because when you're heart-centered, there's no should. You just feel it. When you feel that something really resonates with you, it's what you would do when you are not running around doing other things that you think you should do, then that's being heart-centered. When you just keep your mind chatter down, when you really listen, when you really have that intention to hear the communication from your soul, then your soul can actually communicate with you in a more direct and powerful way. So the first secret is you are a facet of the creative source. Play with this idea and start to work with your soul, align with your soul, and allow your soul to talk to you in a more distinct voice. So the next point I want to share with you is you create according to the rule of frequency. So let me segue into this. So you are the creative source and you create your own experience. So how do you create? Because as the creative source, you would ask, well, how do you create? Because I've been trying to create this experience for myself, but somehow it's not going the way I want to go. So this is what this second secret idea or knowledge is about is how do you create? You create according to the rule of frequency. Everything has a frequency. If you notice it, actually you will start to discern what the frequency of that thing is. Everything has a frequency. If you look at anything around your house, you would feel that it's everything is a little different. When you look at your laptop, or when you look at your phone, or when you look at a tree, when you look at your favorite loving pet, whether it's a cat, a dog, or a horse, it does not matter. When you, whatever it is that you, whether it's a living being or whether it is just an inanimate object, everything, everyone has a frequency. And when you start to observe it, you would notice that the frequency is a little different. For example, let me just say this to you. Do you feel this? Or do you feel that? Even the word this and that has a different frequency. And when you actually hear it, you would have that, your body would tell you that there's a difference between the word, hearing the word this and hearing the word that. So everything, even words, every idea, every dream that you have, every goal that you have, it has a frequency, it has a unique frequency. All you have to do is really match the frequency. And when you match the frequency, that's how that idea, thing, experience, goal will start to happen, will start to be in your life. And you can start to see it as a reality in your life. You don't have to believe me, and I'm just going to give you an analogy. It's the TV analogy. I chose the TV because most people know what that is. And if you don't know, then good for you. So the TV analogy. So if you have a TV or if you've ever seen a TV, you know that TV has a lot of channels. There is sports channel, there's cooking channels, there is wildlife channel, comedy channel, drama channel, a lot of these channels. And all you have to do is turn to the right channel. You just have to, let's say, channel 55 is space. So all the Star Treks and all those would be, you would find it on that channel. So your dream life, that goal that you want to have has a certain frequency. And as long as you can conceive of that idea, as long as you can imagine it, as long as you can want it, it's already there. Just like the TV channels, the cooking channel, or the sports channel, or the space channel, they are all there streaming all the time. But you don't see all of them on your TV. You only see the ones that you tune into. So the frequency of the goal or the reality that you want to experience has that frequency. And when you tune into that frequency, your reality would change. It's just like when you tune into that TV channel, for example, the sports channel, then you would see sports, whether it is hockey, whether it is basketball, all different sorts of sports is on that channel. So, and when you feel like something else, you just have to switch it. The same thing about any goal that you have. All you have to do is match that frequency, and you'll be able to start to create that. Now, when I say you have to match the frequency, I don't mean that you just have to match that frequency for 5 seconds. Because reality, it's a little bit more complicated than the serving the TV channels. You have to hold that frequency of your goal, your dream, the reality that you actually want to experience for longer period of time. The first time when you match a frequency of your preferred experience, you may be able to see a little bit of change, a little bit of shift and transformation in your life. You may be able to hold it for just a few seconds and you would see a change. However, the more times and the longer you can hold that frequency, you would start to create a timeline. What do I mean by a timeline? A timeline is only that. It's like when you can only hold the frequency of your preferred experience for 5 minutes, it may be able to shift so that you would have one day of great experience. However, if you can, for a longer period of time, hold that frequency, the longer it is, the more you make all aspects of your life start to resonate in that new frequency. And when that happens, then there is no going back. You can't, it's not as easy, because when you have created a momentum by holding the frequency of your preferred experience for long enough, you've held the momentum long enough so that every aspect of your life is already changed to that new frequency. And that new frequency would allow you to experience life from a completely different band. Because drama, trauma, sadness, disappointment is a certain band of frequency. And when you have shifted yourself high enough, it's not so easy to experience the other frequency that's not within your band. So that's what this power of this wisdom is. When you know that everything has a unique frequency, every experience, reality has a particular frequency, you can create, and you can create according to the rule of frequency. And you hold the frequency long enough of your preferred experience, then you will start to create momentum, and that momentum will all of a sudden change your life story in a very, so that it's not as easy for you to dip back into the old story or the old timeline. Your whole internal dialogue will start to shift. Not to say that you will never be able to experience anything negative or something that you don't prefer, but that those would be the every now and then, all of a sudden, of course, you would still have a day that you don't prefer, but most of the time you would be riding on that momentum, that timeline of your preferred experience. So that's how you create and start to make major changes in your life, is understand that there is a frequency for everything. Match the frequency long enough and you would see that experience. You would have that experience and you would shift your reality into the new normal for you. Okay, so then of course, the next thing, the logical next thing is, so how do we shift our frequency? How do we make it so that we can focus and have a very new reality for ourselves? Well, that's the third secret that I want to share with you, is that your emotions, your beliefs, your thoughts affect your frequency. And I want to, at first I think, oh, maybe it's just emotions, but actually our beliefs some of our beliefs are beliefs that we know of. And then there are some beliefs that are like, they are underlying beliefs that we don't even question. We're not even conscious of, but they are there. They've been there for such a long time. It's like fish don't notice that they are swimming in water. Some beliefs are so unconscious that we don't even question it. For example, the belief that we are this body. It's something that is so unconscious that not everybody even question it. And so those are the beliefs underneath. And then the beliefs that you have when you go about your life, if something happens to you that goes, I would say, goes against your beliefs, you would start to have certain emotions. Or if your belief tells you that when this happens, you're supposed to feel that, then your emotions would kick in. So, and then when your emotions kick in, then, all of a sudden you would have these thoughts and all those things. So emotions, beliefs, and thoughts are kind of the trifecta that will affect your frequency. And okay, I want to let you know that you, on a soul level, as the soul, is high frequency because you are a facet of the creative source. Of course, you're high frequency. So how come you are experiencing what you're experiencing? It's because when you're born, your soul decided that, okay, I want to pick these parents, I want to pick these circumstances, this geographic location, this culture, and all of that already has a belief system in there, emotions and thoughts all there. And you as the soul, when you come and take on this body, inherited all of that. Now, of course, on a soul level, you also pick and choose what it is. Like even for example, as a Chinese, I would have certain beliefs. However, I don't take on all of it. I only take on some of it more than others. Some ideas would weigh on me much more than others. And I took on these ideas because my soul tells me that, okay, play with these ideas. And from your creative source perspective, how would you like to play with it? How would you like to either perpetuate it or change it or shift it to something that is more to your liking? And so that's why we inherit and we take on the belief system, emotions, and the thoughts, and they affect our frequency so that we are whatever frequency that we are right now. So it's not a bad thing. We want to experience this. We want to play with it. That's what we come here for, is to experience, is to embody, because it's all good to, as a spirit, to think of these emotions, think of these beliefs, think of these thoughts. It's another thing to actually experience all of these belief systems, thoughts, and emotions at the body level. And that's what our soul came here to do, is to experience from this body. I'm not saying this body is bad. I'm saying that there is a purpose for having this body. It's because we want to actually experiencing all of these. We came here for experience. However, we came here to experience so that we can make shift to it and transform these experience, these emotions, beliefs, and thoughts. If we want to do it, if we feel that we want something better, if it does not resonate with us, we actually, as a soul, came here to decide, do we want to continue or do we want to shift? And that's why one of the more powerful things is to ask yourself is, are you complete with this creation? Every experience is your creation. You may not believe me, I know, because why would somebody want to choose this experience? I mean, some experiences are really horrific. You just have to, listen to the news or look at read other people's biography. Some people really have create quite a horrific experience for themselves. And why would anyone in their right mind wants to create this for themselves. On a human body level, no, we don't want to. But on a spiritual level, yes, we do. We want to actually experience it so that we can transform it. And you can transform it when you're complete with it. Because when you are not complete with something, you resist it. And whatever it is that you resist, you actually make it stronger and more persistent. So when you stop resisting something, when you truly come to the point where you can honestly, congruently say, I'm complete with this creation, I'm complete with this experience, and you processed all your beliefs, all your emotions, all your thoughts that help you sustain, helps you to create this experience for yourself. When you have processed all of this and you become neutral, it's like you, on a spiritual level, it's like you pass an exam. When you pass an exam, then you don't have to repeat that grade anymore. You don't have to keep on creating and recreating that thing for you to experience anymore. When you are finally complete with something, there's no more resistance. You can just look at that experience and become neutral. Then you don't need to experiencing that thing anymore. You can start to create. You can say, okay, I'm done this, complete, and now when you think of something else, and it will be so easy for you to shift into that other frequency, that unique frequency of that goal, of that dream, or that reality for yourself, that there's no going back. So this is how you can shift and affect your frequency, is by letting go of judgment, letting go of resistance, by accepting and by processing your emotions. And what do I mean by processing your emotions? Is don't resist it. If you feel that you are, if you have an anger, if anger is your go-to emotions, then I highly suggest that you stop resisting the anger, but don't act from that anger as well. Is to just sit in that anger and allow all of that anger, all of the conversations behind that anger, all of the beliefs, scenarios, whatever it is that keeps sustaining and fueling that anger, to all come out and look at it without any judgment, without any resistance. Allow it to come out. Allow it to come out. And you will notice that at some point, that anger cannot sustain itself, because it's all just thoughts. It's all just a story. When you tell the story enough time, and when you process and allow all of that emotions to come out, be aired, then it will at some point stop to trigger you anymore. You will become just peaceful at it, and you would just think of the events, that the story, but because the emotions, you have allowed it, you have given it time to come out. The emotions, you would still feel that, oh, I was angry about that once upon a time, but now you've aired it, it's all come out. There's no more resistance, no more telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't be angry with that person, because that person may be, my mother or my father or my sibling, whatever. There's no more resistance. When there's no more resistance, all the emotions is aired out. It cannot sustain itself. If you don't believe me, just do it. Just try it out for yourself. There's the believing that is not true is part of the trick that your your mind trick you into not trying something out. All I'm asking is for you to play with that, try it out, and really let the experience speak for itself. And when you do this with each and every one of your emotions and process it and air it out without any resistance, your emotions is coming so that it can come out. Emotions is not supposed to be trapped in your body. When you allow it to come out, and start to shift your thinking and because when the emotions is not there, you don't feel the emotions anymore, then you become free to choose new thoughts, to choose new beliefs. And when you feel that somehow that emotions is still there, then my suggestion is you haven't gotten at the underlying belief yet. There's something there that's lying there so unconscious, so dormant, that you haven't quite gotten it yet. When you got it, when you finally realize that, when you're conscious of the belief system that's supporting you to feel a certain emotion, when you got that and you decide that you're complete with this, you no longer need to feel that anger, that sadness, or that disappointment, or whatever the emotion is. When you choose a different reaction to that belief, then the beliefs would just fall down like a house of cards. And so that you can free up and you can choose the frequency that you want to be in, and you can choose the reality, the dream, and the life that you actually want to have. And that's so simple. I know, but it's not easy. Just because something is simple, it does not mean or guarantee that it is easy. So these are just the three simple knowledge, wisdom, or secret that you need to know. First is to play with the idea that you are a facet of the creative source and that you create these experiences for yourself. You came here for the experience. And then the second idea is that you can actually create whatever you want by frequency. When you match the frequency of your dream, of the reality, and of your goal, when you match the frequency long enough, it will start to take on a momentum and be able to sustain it as the new normal for yourself. And lastly, but not the least, is that you can change your frequency by choosing new beliefs, choosing to respond to your beliefs with different emotions and with different thoughts. And when you shift your emotions, beliefs, and thoughts, you can shift your frequency to whatever it is that you prefer. And you know that when you change your frequency, you change your reality as well. So that's the three simple wisdom, ideas, secrets that you need to know to create whatever empowered soul journey you want for yourself. So I just want to actually stop the